Hello and a very warm welcome to the Adventure Show. This month we're at the Strathpuffer 24. 24 hours of extreme mountain biking.
And we've all done it before.
It was tough, absolutely unrelenting.
Probably the toughest physical and mental thing I've ever done.
2 years ago, Dougie and I did it in a team of 4.
Last year I did it in a team of just 2.
And this year we're going to be fine because we're in a team of 3, aren't we?
No, bad news. You're on
Sorry.
your own.
On my own. That's not funny in the slightest.
Yeah!
Not actually a shot from me, I'm afraid.
Also in this week's show, we're hill walking with Cameron McNeish on down with us. We're winter surfing with Lindsay and Tongue. God bless her, it will be cold. She's also going to be in Ben Lawers, and we're looking at a feature on folding bikes.
But first, let's have a look at what's in store for me this year. Why am I doing this? Yes, why am I doing this? Sadly, it's too late to worry now. It's the morning of race day and conditions are not looking too favourable.
Well, it's a sinking feeling. A couple of days ago the forecast was looking great, but now stood here, it's raining and it's ankle deep in mud already and we haven't even started.
Never again.
Normal story, standing in the field in the mud.
12 hours drive up here and well, you know, 24 hours of total mayhem, I think, but it should be a good laugh. We can get the tent up.
Well, it's an hour and a half before the start of the race. I'm starting to get pretty nervous now. My biggest concern about the whole thing, I have to say now, is the ice. There's lots of ice flying around over there in the mountains over in the back there. You can see there's lots of snow cover. Yesterday the whole place was covered in ice. There's been a bit of a thaw, but there's still a lot of ice around. I want to find out why people do it. You know, what is it about these events that make them keep coming back? What do you find out about yourself? Is it addictive or is it just plain miserable?
I don't know what I'm letting myself in for here, but thought I'd just go for it this year. Done 2 years of doing female pairs, and then this year solo.
My plan today was to ride in a quad, but it now looks like I'm going to be riding solo. The other 3 have decided that the weather's not right for them, so they've disappeared and leaving me to ride it on my own. I just think they're all a bit soft, really.
Well, I don't know, I think this one attracts a lot of people for solo because it's a proper challenge. It's not a dry field in the summer, it's a proper hard race. But just the attrition rate with the mud and the cold is ridiculously high.
What attracted me to this is actually the reason I was sold the Strathpuffer was that somebody just told me that it was just so bad that it was good.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
And it was the kind of thing that you'd like look back on and be like, oh, you know, that was kind of great, and in a kind of really crazy, hardcore way.
10 minutes to go, laddie.
Yep.
And are you excited now?
I'm very excited. I've just broken my... I can't believe that. I've just broken that, so that's not a good start. I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous about the whole thing, which is, you know, I actually printed off some inspirational phrases.
You'll be great, mate.
Thank you, man. I printed off some inspirational phrases, and I'm going to have one for every single lap.
What's the first
and
one?
this one is, bite off more than you can chew, and chew it anyway. Come on! I'm raring to get on my bike and be off, but the race actually starts on foot, Le Mans style. It's a sprint to pick up the bikes at the start of my big ordeal. It's amazing, actually. You see everyone standing around just before they start, and there are people who are looking nervous, people who are looking fit, and some people who are looking very tough. Check that out. That is very brave. Exposed flesh in these conditions is absolutely magic and mental. There. Good luck. 24 hours of joy. Here we go. I feel puffed out already.
Well, this is the kind of interesting moment where the adrenaline's really pumping, but really today, I'd rather him than me. Haven't seen him come through yet.
now find my bike.
Oh, here he is.
Lost him, here he is.
Go on, my son. He has a spring in his step, though.
Dougie! Right, take it easy, it's going to be great.
Okay.
Just be steady. Watch the ice on the first hill. Good luck.
Thank you.
He's the most nervous I've seen him in the last 24 hours, actually. Wasn't much of a smile there, was there?
Well, can you blame me? I'm setting off at a sedate pace. After all, there's 24 hours of this ahead. But others aren't so cautious. They're already eating up the miles on this first lap, ice and all.
That is deathly treacherous.
Ice tyres! Ice tyres! Giant, well done, well done.
Icy, very icy. You need spikes on. And I don't.
It's good, there's quite a bit of running in it. It's been a few crashes in the way.
Very slippy, treacherous, lethal. Good fun, though.
Very slidey. Very dangerous at places. But that's what we're here for. Bit of fun, bit of excitement. We'll catch you later.
And here's the man himself, Mr. Vipond. You're
Treacherous, it's
you-
treacherous.
Yeah, but you're smiling, is it okay?
It's fine, but it's mental.
Take care. Well, that's Dougie, well on his way. He's nearly done the first lap and he's still smiling. But he's not the only one that's got to keep going for 24 hours of continuous mountain biking. Duncan's been finding out what's involved in both getting your bike ready and then keeping it going.
So you've got yourself physically fit and you've done some hours on the road and on the cross-country trails, but there's something else that can let you down. Neil Walker, who's been helping Dougie throughout the year, has brought his spare bike in to show me a little bit of what can and can't go wrong.
The biggest problems are going to be with the brakes. On this particular course there's a very, very fine gravel here and people are going to find themselves going through disc pads at a rate of maybe 2 or 3 laps they'll get out of a set of brake pads, so that's going to be one of the biggest issues for people. That's a part worn pad and that's about the position you'd expect to replace a pad at, and that's one that the entire brake pad material's gone and the backing plate started to wear down.
So instead of actually having the braking material on the steel, you've got steel on steel.
Steel on steel. It's something to do with the stone on the ground here that forms basically a grinding paste, so that as soon as you're riding through it you don't even need to be pulling your brakes, but it's just there and the pads are disintegrating.
There's some people here with single speed bikes to try and reduce the mechanical.
Well, as the chain starts to get dirty and obviously then the chain rings get dirty as well, the chain wants to stay on the chain rings.
Right.
So that's going to be a big issue for people on geared bikes. You start to fill up the rear cassette with mud, and similarly then basically you get stuck in one gear and your chain starts jumping about.
This is a pretty good full suspension bike, and it's got a variable lock so you can have it very soft or very hard. Are you going to bother with any of that, or is it not that technical a course?
I think normally you would use the lockout on this course on the climbs because there's quite long fire road climbs, but the conditions today with the ice, all the fire road people are having to go off and walk, so it's not necessarily that essential.
You've been helping Dougie prepare for this for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
Tell me how you think he's prepared and what were the issues over the the last 6 months or so.
I think obviously he's a busy man and he's found it quite difficult to do the volume of training required to be competitive in an event like this, but he's a fit guy, and I think the fact that it's icy is probably better and that it actually reduces the amount of riding he's doing, and he won't feel as bad about getting off and walking some of those bits.
You'll find that.
The biggest thing is going to be the mental challenge for him. When it gets into the night at 1-2 o'clock, it starts to get really difficult mentally then, and it's going to be quite tough for him at that point of the motivation to keep on going, and that's where the support crew really comes in to know when to be compassionate and know when to be cruel.
Yeah. If he does a good solid 8, he should be very pleased with that.
He'll be able to hold his head up high if he does 8, and if he gets double figures that'll be an incredible ride, and he'll have to come back next year.
The decision to take part in a 24-hour mountain bike race in the dead of winter may seem one tinged with, well, a certain amount of madness. But there are others who are prepared to brave the winter chill. It just refuses to cool their passion for their sport. In this case, surfing. Over the centuries, this particular stretch of coastline has witnessed everything from Jacobite battles to the surrender of German submarines. Today it's more likely to provide a recreational battleground between top surfers vying for that perfect wave. Chris Scott is one of a growing number of surf fanatics living in the area. Chris, what's the surf scene like here?
Well, it's small, it's remote, and there's not a lot of people who actually live here that surf. I mean, I'm maybe one of the few surfers up here. Lots of people travel from all around Sutherland and Caithness. When they look at the websites, they see what the waves are doing, and all of a sudden, there can be 10 vans here, and you're struggling to get on a wave. It's only happened in the last few years that it's been like that.
And right through the year, even through the winter, you're out here surfing?
Yeah, usually when the wind's down, we're out. I mean, it tears the face off you on a real bitter day, as you can probably feel today. It's when the waves are there, you can't not go out, can you?
Why are you so passionate about surfing though? Why are you prepared to be out here midwinter?
Well, I think once you've been out, you buzz for a day after surfing, and it's something you carry into your week. So the more opportunities you can get to do it, the better you feel, really.
How do you get the buzz though? I mean, when does that adrenaline kick in? What's the sort of perfect moment on a wave?
As you're fighting for your life, getting through the waves probably half the time. But no, when you get on a wave and you're in the right place at the right time, and you've got time to realise that you're on the board and you can manoeuvre, and it takes you all the way in. And they don't happen all the time, especially with the waves around here. The breaks come from lots of different directions, but when you get that one, you'll not forget it for the rest of the day.
Okay, we can't really put it off any longer, can we?
Well, let's go and get wet.
I'm cold. I'm freezing, and I'm not even in the water yet.
It's quite warm. As long as you've got the right stuff on, you're alright.
No,
just for getting out and getting in the vans.
It was great. Okay, I know there wasn't enough surf today for you to get up and do your thing, but even just body surfing on
it gave you a flavour of what it's like, you know.
The water's just so clear, and a fabulous sandy beach. I think I'll come back another day.
Welcome back to the Strathpuffer, where conditions are proving to be a real problem.
Are you having fun?
Nah. Normally, I'd never ride a bike on ice, so I'm not quite sure why we're doing it now.
I've just been out having a look at the course, and it is just so icy. Look at this, just sheet ice. Now, this is actually on the final run down to the finish line. People will be wanting to make up time, but this whole section of track and way below me, just sheet ice. It really is going to be lethal. People are going to have to be really careful.
I think next time I might leave my bike behind and get some spiky shoes and a blowtorch and see what happens.
Could do with some crampons, I think.
Awful. Very slippy. Oh, this is the worst year yet, man. Absolutely atrocious down there. Go home! It's just a sheet of slippery ice. I mean, not just ordinary slippery ice, but slippery ice with soapy liquid on it.
That's just so easy.
Everywhere is ice, even the fire track. You have to go off and walk. You can't cycle it.
And are the people falling off all over the place?
It's quite funny, but it's quite sad at the same time.
Dougie, over here. So,
How
is that?
Very,
Icy.
very icy.
You're right to take it nice and gentle, though.
Well, I walked most of it. You couldn't feel it. All the forest roads, all the big nice climbs from 2 years ago are pure ice. Ice, baby. Gonna get a cup of tea. There's no point in rushing out. It was well letting it beat, get beat up. That's fine. It's nice, majorly icy.
So you're gonna have a wee break now?
Oh yeah.
Thank you very much,
I figure the best idea is to wait it out and hope conditions ease up, but others are slogging on. And while some are going for studded tyres, others adopt rather more homegrown solutions.
This looks like an interesting version of a studded tyre. What was the idea behind that?
It was desperation, really. We tried various things and came up with this. We tried chains and stuff, and it's just mesh.
Yeah, you get about a mile out of them.
A mile? That's great, because it's 8 long.
The first couple of hills I was flying, and then they just fell apart.
The ground hasn't defrosted for I think 3 or 4 weeks, and people have been riding on it. So it's been freezing, thawing a wee bit, freezing, thawing. So you've got sheet ice for quite a lot of the track.
You have a wee secret though, haven't you, as to what to do with the tyres?
Yes. These are designer tyres, old tyres. Well, this one's not particularly worn, which we put 1/2-inch screws into. And if you have a look inside, you'll see where we'll put the screw heads through the tyre. And what we'll do is we'll line this with window flashing, believe it or not, which is a heavy-duty adhesive-backed foam pad, which will stop the screws coming through and puncturing into the inner tube.
Ingenious solutions. However, I prefer my cup of tea, thanks very much. Now, I'm doing this because I've been told to. Thanks, Adventure Show. But let's admit it, the whole thing is clearly barking.
My mate's talked me into this one, so it's in at the deep end, big time.
I was kind of confused because you've got all the right stuff.
All the gear? No, I get
The easy bit is the biking. The hard bit is getting everything else organised. But once you get on the bike, everything seems to fall into place.
It's fun just to see psychologically what it's going to be like. So I think physically, as long as you keep fueled and keep going steady, it's fine. But it's always interesting to see what games it plays with your mind at 3 o'clock in the morning.
At the end of the day, I guess I'm quite competitive deep down, so if I know any results and I know there's any other solo girls within reach or chasing me, that'll be motivation in itself to just keep plodding along.
How's it going?
I'm feeling okay. This is only lap number 2. The good thing about this lap is the course is not as frozen as it was, so looking good. We're coming towards the end of it, which is the bonus.
Rider coming through!
So Mr. V, second round.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you my motivational phrase for that round was an old Japanese proverb which say, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Did you fall over?
No, didn't, thankfully. Actually, that's not true. I fell into a ditch, but it was a kind of comedy slow motion fall. It wasn't really a fall.
And what now? Are you going to stop for something to eat?
I'm going to stop for something to eat, but the course is starting to chew up now, so you can climb up the hills now, which is much better.
Fine.
Yeah, it's much nicer.
So all under control, brains working, feet working,
feet working so far, yeah. Everything's okay.
Get your stomach working.
Yeah. Still feel warm as well, which is good.
It's good out there. First lap really icy, but it's starting to cut up a bit now. Clean lap second time round, fell off a few times, but it's good. Sunshine, mud, ice, what more do you need?
It's not really a race, it's just it's a social event. Coffee morning, a long coffee morning.
Had about 2 spills and it was just in the first 10 minutes. Apart from that, everything's fine, Legs are feeling good. Here's hoping we make it to the end.
I'm just starting my third lap, and now I'm starting to feel the effects.
Oh, it's a big splosh.
And for this lap, I've got a camera with me. Perhaps not a good idea. It witnesses my struggle as the short day turns into the long night.
It's not even dark yet. Not even dark yet, I'm feeling rotten. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Beastie.
How was it, third one?
Had a really bad moment at the sort of top of the climb on the old fire road, this forest road. I was really kind of losing the plot. And
what about? What
just feeling really, oh my god, really down. Low moment. I'll be fine now. So that's the first down I've had. And it lasted a wee while. But no, I feel good now.
Splosh!
The climb was good.
Yeah,
but it's tiring, but it's fine. So I feel quite comfortable now, but I need to stop again and recharge the batteries. But I think that just towards the end of that first climb up to where the first caravan is on the old course, I was having a...
Was that because you had too long a break between the first and the second?
Don't know, I just started to feel really tired and thinking, it's the whole head. No, physically I was alright, but just thinking, yeah. Anyway, batter down there, cup of tea.
But for some people, the race literally never stops. They bike till they drop. Duncan's caught up with race organiser Steve McDonald on what must surely be the hardest puffer yet.
So it's the closest we've ever come to actually cancelling. Condition of the course we felt was too dangerous.
You told me earlier on that just at 10 o'clock when the race was supposed to have started, you were shoveling salt out onto the course.
Yeah, shoveling grit and salt out a pickup onto the course, frantically trying to make it rideable.
It is against all adversity. The organisation and the marshals are out there all night. It's lunacy. And the riders keep coming.
Lunacy. And they do keep coming, and everybody mucks in, and everybody's really happy. And I think people probably couldn't care if they had to sleep in a puddle. They'd still keep on doing it.
Hey, the puffer, right?
And you were saying that the highest injury rates are due to...
Well, generally people injuring themselves trying to fix their bikes more than anything else.
Rather than falling off in the ice.
They're almost happier the more horrendous the conditions are. Then it's a real challenge. I must say this year, the person that wins it is definitely won something worth winning. It's not an easy race, this one.
And there's no argument about that. To most people, this sort of biking is insane, but it doesn't have to be like this. Lindsay's been investigating a growth area on two wheels on a journey from a railway station to the big open spaces.
I just love being out on my bike. It's such a great way to see the outdoors, but with today's bikes, you can have them with a cup of coffee, get the holiday laundry done, and you can do a spot of shopping.
They are as good to ride as normal bikes, but they can also be very, very compact, which means you can use them for commuting, for things which a normal bike is very difficult to fit into spaces and very difficult to lock and store and put away.
And you use one yourself?
Yes, I use one whenever I need to go visit the bank manager, for example. I ride on the folding bike to the train station, fold it up, jump on the train, the other end I unfold it, ride to the bank, and then I can fold it up and put it under the bank manager's desk. Brompton's about as small as folding bikes get and are still rideable. The pedal folds down.
Okay.
The seat post goes up, and the seat post have locked everything else together. So that's the key.
Okay.
And then this is the fast show-off plate. Handbars swing out. It does.
Oh wow, that is so impressive.
And tighten up.
That's brilliant.
The only thing that moves in a Brompton is the back, which has suspension built into it.
Oh wow, let's see that. Hey, cool.
Separates.
Blimey.
It also means it will fold up by itself. You swing the back under and it will allow stand without having a prop stand.
That is brilliant. Okay, the experts do it in 15 seconds. I've seen it once incredibly quickly, and I'm going to try and do it myself. So, pedals clip like that. Seat is going to come up like that. I'm going to have to do my handlebars next. Now, what happens with handlebars again?
With these, push them down.
Ah, right, very easy. Right, so that's... Then lock that. Let me think about this. It's got to swing round. Does it go up and round, or does it go... Oh dear.
Lift and swing.
Ah.
You're at 1 minute and 15 seconds.
1 minute and 15. It's a disaster.
You've just got the back
I've got to put this, I've got to put the back seat out. Back wheel out.
And that's it.
Ta-da!
Minute
How
and
long?
a half.
Minute and a half. Okay. Oh, feels a bit elongated. This feels very strange. Whoops! A little bit wobbly with the small wheels, but quickly getting used to the feel of this. This feels fine. Hi, Ben.
Hello.
So, I've had a few strange looks, but I think it's just people being interested. It's really stable. And of course, if I want to You look like you're going somewhere.
This is a Animal, which is a suitcase bike. So it's designed for people who want to take a very good bike on an airplane with them. You can see the bike itself. It's an aluminium frame, very light, very fast. So the main frame unfolds.
Okay.
Seat pillar unfolds. We then have saddle, handlebars, which I shall need an Allen key for. This bike would be great for going on holiday. If you're a really keen cyclist and you want to take a bicycle with you, but you don't want the hassle of packing up a full-size bike, then the Animal is perfect. With a bit more dismantling, it will go down to airline hand baggage size, but that takes about half an hour to reassemble at the other end.
Is it a good road bike then?
It's a very good road bike, very fast. It's at least as fast as a Tour de France bike.
Really?
Yes. It's the back wheel.
Okay.
And the front wheel's the same. That's it, ready to go.
Okay, see you in a minute.
Okay.
It feels strange being on a road bike with drop handlebars, but then it's not actually been fitted for me. Well, 18 gears on this one, the road bike. It was actually pretty good coming up that short, steep hill section. Pretty good machine, Ben. We've got another one that looks pretty like the first one.
This is the Birdie, which is a German aluminium bike. Being aluminium, it's a bit lighter. It's got full suspension, so also good on rougher terrain as well. Handlebars go up.
Okay.
Front wheel swings out.
Oh, cool! Like that.
Seat post goes up. Back wheel swings out, and that's it.
So the Birdie is ideal for what?
Anything from commuting, because it still folds pretty compactly and into a nice small space, to long distance touring. You can fit full carriers to carry 4 panniers on if you want to and go for a long distance. Ready?
Stopwatch on me.
And go.
So the handlebars I think went up first. Clip them down. The front wheel is kind of, right, and turn that to one side. Oops, a little click. Seems to be attached. Right, so front wheels, and we're going to have the seat. Got a life of its own, the bike. Right, back wheel. I'm trying to remember what happens here. Looks like it's going to fold out and down. Is that it?
35 seconds.
35 seconds for a beginner. I'm going to see how this performs. Starting to settle into this one now. This feels good. Still feels a wee bit unstable at the front, but I think it's just the suspension. Well, to begin with, I didn't like this one because the front suspension and the small wheels made everything feel really twitchy. But I've got used to it pretty quick, Ben, actually, and I changed my mind completely. I really like it. But you've got something bigger and rougher and tougher for me, by the looks of it.
This is a Dachshund, basically a full-size bike. It just hinges in the middle. Not the kind of thing you want to use every day for commuting, but fantastic for squeezing in the back of a car and taking out into the middle of nowhere. This one's pretty quick. The front wheel comes off. Seat post on this one is what locks it all together. So take the seat post out, front swings out. By tightening one Allen bolt, it locks each hinge together. So attach the front wheel, connect up the front brake, and this one's ready to go.
So, onto the roughy tufty one now. So, see you in a few minutes.
Okay.
I like this. Good bike for a folding one. Handles really nicely. Good front suspension. Feels comfortable. It's difficult to compare them because they all do a different job, but if you had to choose one bike...
It would be very difficult. I'm very much like the Birdie, but I think for me it would be the Dachshund because it folds well enough to get into a cupboard or get into the back of the car. But as a mountain bike, it's a fantastic bike to ride.
Despite initial reservations, I actually like the Birdie. I like the gears. It's very comfortable. It's a sit-up and beg bike. I like that kind of thing. Yeah, really impressed with my first close encounter with folding bikes. Shall we?
Okay.
Now we join Scotland's best-known walker, Cameron McNeish, as he heads out into the hills, just up the road from the Strathpuffer.
Just as Loch Nagar has become known as Aberdeen's mountain, or Ben Lomond has become known as Glasgow's hill, then the good residents of the new city of Inverness have taken Ben Wyvis to their heart as their mountain. And indeed you can see this big sprawling massif of a hill from most parts of the city, from much of Easter Ross or from the Black Isle. I've just walked up from the Ullapool Road at Garbutt on a very nice footpath which follows the line of the Altabialach Vor, and that eventually climbs up onto the foot of the Ancaba Ridge of Ben Wyvis itself. And I have to confess to a bit of an affinity with this particular footpath, because a number of years ago I was invited to come and officially open this path by the Ross and Cromarty Footpath Trust. And I remember years ago, before the path was built, climbing up here by the forest, and in particular the stretch of moorland here was just a great swathe of mud and peat that had been churned up by all the walkers over the years. So I think the footpath workers have done us a great favour, not only making a nice path to walk on, but they've actually healed this mountain. They've healed what was once a horrible muddy scar that you could see from miles and miles away. I stopped just back there a bit to slip on my crampons and swap my trekking poles for an ice axe. Because although people think Ben Wyvis is quite an easy Munro, in icy conditions like this it takes on a completely different persona. And a lot of people think it's a bit of a faff wearing crampons and carrying an ice axe, but I actually quite like it because it reminds me of my mountaineering roots. It reminds me that hill walking in Scotland in winter is no less than mountaineering, and you know, it's great fun. The two main summits of Ben Wyvis are Ancaba, which is just above us here, and Glasliat Moor, which is over that way, and that's the main summit at 3,432 feet. And the two summits sit at either end of a 2 kilometre long ridge, a bit like what two Wally Dugs sitting above a fireplace. Remember those china ornaments your grandmother used to have at either end of the mantelpiece? But in this case, the big corrie in between the two summits can be quite a dangerous place at this time of the year. Indeed, a number of years ago when the mountain guide Martin Moran was doing the first traverse of all the Munros in winter, this is where he nearly came to grief because he was avalanched here. And just a few weeks ago I was up here when the mountain was completely smothered in snow. And I watched a chap come down from the summit and traverse across this great corrie, and just above him was a great big swathe of wind slab. And I thought, oh no, he's for the chop, he's going to be avalanched. Fortunately, he wasn't, and I breathed a great sigh of relief. But we're as well to be prepared and to realise that avalanches do happen in Scotland, and we really should know as much as we can about them. There's an old story that says Ben Wyvis and the land surrounding it were once rented by the Clan Mackenzie, rented from the Crown. And the rent was a curious one. It was a snowball gathered from one of the eastern corries of Ben Wyvis on Midsummer's Day. The current chief of the Clan Mackenzie is a guy called John Mackenzie, Earl of Cromarty. He's a very, very enthusiastic climber, an old friend of mine. And I reckoned in these globally warm days he'd be severely challenged to find a snowball on Midsummer's Day. But given the amount of snow Ben Wyvis has had this winter, then this might be his lucky year. I've been totally confused. I've been coming up here looking for a trig point, which is about that height off the ground, behind a snow shelter, which is about that height off the ground, and I couldn't see it. And then all of a sudden, I've spotted the trig point. Look, I can stand on the top of it. It's amazing. That means there must be about 4 or 5 feet of snow here. Quite incredible. Quite incredible. It just shows how much snow there's been this winter. It's fantastic. And just over here, these lovely big lonely corries of Ben Wyvis. An early Scottish mountaineering club journal described these corries as being secretive, secret glens with black schistose crags and high secret loch-ins. And I found that very, very attractive. And I've never done it, but one day I want to walk into Ben Wyvis from the east, from what we know is the dark side of Ben Wyvis. And you can just see along the line there these lovely cornices, these beautiful artistic shapes that are created by the wind and the snow. One of the beautiful features of winter. It's terrific. Something special about being up on a mountain like this in sort of late afternoon in winter with the sun just dying. It's wonderful. And I always think the views from Ben Wyvis are almost unsurpassed because we're standing here in the Eastern Highlands looking away towards the west and looking across to the Fannichs in there. You can see Loch Fanich today, looking up to Anchellach, which is probably my favourite of all the Scottish mountains, and then the Benjerrick Hills moving away to the north, away up to Caithness. It really is fantastic. And it convinces me again that Ben Wyvis is probably one of the best viewpoints in the Scottish Highlands.
Back at the Strathpuffer 24, we're now into 17 hours of night riding. The temperature's really started to drop, so everybody's getting a bit chilled now. And this is going to be the hard time for the riders. They have to decide, are they going to do 1 lap, 2 laps, then have a rest, or even go for 3 laps and then take a longer break. It's not going to be easy, and it's still icy out there in the course.
Well, it's amazing how when there's supposedly so many people here, you can actually be on your own for great spells of time, and you think, am I still going the right way? But yeah, no, it's good. It's a little bit edgier, but no, I still like it.
Oh, it's super. Yeah, it's really nice. It's sort of, there's little bits of mist now around and about, so that's quite nice. You're sort of going into the mist, and then you go into a little cold patch, and then it sort of warms up, and there's folk out there.
It's good fun. You've got that little buzz. It's a bit more excitement, you know, and it's a bit more challenging.
Yeah, I love riding at night. It feels like you're going really fast, even when you're going really slow. So it does make a big difference.
Easy up.
You're about to start your 5th lap.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going okay, actually, but it's getting very cold, so I think it's important that between laps that you stay inside, keep nice and warm, and I really enjoyed lap number 4 because I was playing music in my ear all the time.
Makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does make a huge difference.
You're much more chirpy than I was. I mean, I was just a bit greeting at this point last year.
Weather conditions this year are a bit better though, but the inspirational phrase for this lap is from Tom Waits, and it's, "I'm not going to let Dr. Sorrow operate in me today." Let's do it.
Go on, Dougie, go for it.
So it's back out onto the course again, just me and my bike. Lindsay's off on foot to find out how everyone else is bearing up.
Oh, fantastic. Can't stop laughing. It's like a bottle of pop.
Well, it's tough because you can't see it very well. But it's entertaining. It's good fun in its own crazy way.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Keep smiling.
Oh, yeah.
This top section is always going to be, it's just hellish. It's still really icy. Lots of people are riding it. I can't. But I feel strong, but actually, I feel okay, actually. I'm pushing down this bit and then I'll batter on. So I'll see you later on.
We're out in the course at the top of the hill above the base camp, and the conditions tonight are fantastic. There's a big moon, virtually no wind. It's actually not too cold. Ideal riding conditions, and all the lights bobbing along behind us here. Morning!
Is it morning?
It is morning. It's good news. Yeah, more than halfway through it. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad.
Go for it.
Lost the track.
Sometimes when people get to the top of the hill here, it's just a little bit confusing as to which way to go. Morning!
Hi there. Is it morning already?
It is morning! I think everybody's pleased that it is in fact morning, which means that they're more than halfway through this 24-hour mountain bike race.
Well done.
This year, almost 60 riders have opted to take on the Puffer as soloists, a staggering statistic. But we're not entirely on our own. Behind the scenes, there's a big network of support, and looking after me, quite literally, is safety officer and Everest veteran Ian Peter.
I've got two jobs really. One is to look after the kind of general safety of everybody who's out and about in the woods, but then perhaps more importantly is to look after Dougie and make sure he's got everything he needs to make this as enjoyable for him as possible.
What do you mean by that? What sort of things have you been doing for him?
Well, the trouble for him just now is he's got a lot to think about just to keep himself going. So I've just been trying to think about all the other things that he hasn't thought about, so make sure he's got lots to eat and lots to drink, and that he's wearing the right gear, and that he's wearing enough gear, and that his gear's dry, and that whatever he's going to do next we've thought about as well. So for example, now we've just changed his batteries again, so he doesn't have to think about charging them back on charge for him again.
Okay, should I put my back light on?
Well, it's really important that, isn't it? Because I mean, at this time of night, you start to get mentally quite low as well as physically.
Well, the trouble now is that, I mean, he's been cycling for 12 hours, but he's been up since 6 o'clock this morning, so it's a very long day. So even if all he was doing was being up for that length of time, he'd be knackered. But of course, it's physically very demanding as well. So as you say, the physical side's one thing, but the mental side's, it's a whole other ball game. And it's probably the part of it that he's least used to.
How do you think he's feeling at the moment?
Well, he was very tired before this last lap. I mean, he came in and he thought he was going really well, so he was very enthusiastic about doing another lap. And then he sat down, had a cup of tea, rested for half an hour, and he was pretty reluctant to get up and get going again. He's cold now, and he's thinking, it's a long way around there, and it's pitch black, and it's going to be miserable.
Looking good?
Yeah.
Feeling strong?
Yeah.
Oh, what a beautiful morning!
Right, here we go.
On you go, buddy. Friendly.
Oh, having a very, very bad lap. Everything's incredibly hard work. A lot of the bits up there that I was riding before, I can't ride at the moment. I feel pretty sapped. And just up here, there's a big climb. It doesn't feel like a golden day at the moment. I can't get my gloves on. Everything's an effort at the moment. Right, I'm going to go in front of them. See you later.
Is it getting to that point?
That was a very, very bad lap.
Is it? You're a wee bit slower than you have been, but it's not surprising.
Stopping all over the place.
Yeah. Are you sore? Or just really tired?
Just tired and mentally tired.
Yeah. That's when it starts going, doesn't it? When your judgment starts wavering. Like some of the bends, you can't quite see them. And
I'm putting my gears all the time, changing up instead of down.
Yeah.
It's just sapping, There's a big climb still to come.
But it's the last one. And it's those welcoming lights, the base camp, when you get to the top.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful night.
It's glorious,
it's fantastic. There's no wind, and the atmosphere is really good out here. And there's a lot of people asking how you've been getting on. Like, where's Dougie?
What's that coming over the hill? Is it a monster? No, it's a biker!
How long have you been up here?
Since... Oh God. wait, 2.5... Wait. We got lost, so we got shouted at, then we ran away, and then we came up here.
So basically, you've been sitting here for something like 5 hours just cheering people on.
Yeah, and if we get cold, we dance. Yeah. So I won't go in, it's all muddy.
What about our Dougie?
Dougie? Oh yes! I've seen him!
Well, you're doing a really good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I did this last year, and just to have somebody cheering you on.
Oh yeah, we went to McNeish last year. Yeah.
Good effort, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well done!
Well, here at the Strathpuffer, the bikers have got to work their way through a horrendous 17 hours of darkness, but at a time when the nights were much shorter and the days much longer. I went to Highland Perthshire to Ben Lawers to check out the flower power. Ben Lawers on a day like today with Loch Tay laid out below us is, well, it's a great place to be, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It attracts quite a lot of people for that reason, and it's a magnet to hill walkers in the air. As the 10th highest mountain in Britain and the highest in Tayside, I think most people come for the hill walk and the beautiful views you get from the top.
Aside from the obvious hill walking, what would you say is the attraction about this area?
Well, there's an amazing variety of plant life, particularly Arctic alpine species, and it was to protect them that the National Trust for Scotland bought this land in 1950, and for the same reason it's been designated with several conservation designations. There are several species that are known only here and nowhere else in Britain, and some that are known nowhere else in the world, and that's why it's important that it's conserved.
Well, I'm really into alpine plants. I just think they're so tough and they're always these wonderful, vibrant colours. Shall we
Yes.
see what we can find?
Yes, we'll walk round the crag and I can show you what's in flower, and probably some that aren't in flower still.
What makes this place so attractive then to alpine flowers? What is it about it?
In this particular case, you've got a dynamic crag made of lime-rich rock, and I say dynamic because it's breaking up the whole time. And you can see all these fairly bare grey rocks around us. Many of them have fallen down in the last few years. In falling, they'll gouge bits of the vegetation out. And what we're looking at is really a vegetated scree slope, made up of boulders covered in vegetation. A hole, once made, will then start to regrow, so you've got plants that can grow and set seed in bare soil, taking advantage of that.
Wonderful shapes in this rock.
Yes, they're fantastic patterns.
And colour.
Colour. So there's almost an infinite variety, but this is a fairly typical one. A bit of extra colour here with this bit. But the main characteristic of this Ben Lawers schist, it's very friable. I mean, you can actually break bits up. You know, it comes apart in your hands, as it were.
It's incredible,
Yeah.
actually. It's almost like layers of paper.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, this rock has calcite crystals in it, so you get it's calcium carbonate, and you know that can dissolve in rainwater, and provides this as a nutrient for the plants in the soil.
I recognise this one as mouse ear, but I haven't seen this particular one before.
Yes, this is the alpine mouse ear, which is actually very common on Ben Lawers, but it has, I think the flowers are larger than the common mouse ear, but it also has these very hairy leaves.
They're fantastic, aren't they?
Very furry.
They're really fluffy.
We've got a mossy saxifrage here in the background with no flowers, unfortunately, because the flowers are also white and about that size. We've got thyme, and we've got a bit of alpine lady's mantle. Here we've got something really special. A really lucky find at this time of year.
What's this then, David?
Alpine gentian.
Oh, isn't that a beauty? Absolutely gorgeous. It's the first time I've seen one in Scotland. So just exactly how unique is this?
Well, it's certainly in the top rank of the roll call of celebrities for Ben Lawers. It's one of the rarest plants nationally, a scheduled species, and it's one of the ones many people really come to see.
It's almost like a miniature garden, this bit here, David, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
It's fantastic, lots happening.
Well, it's a good example. We're fortunate that this is still in flower. This is the siphle, or mossy siphle, as it's sometimes called, because it looks a bit like a moss.
Right, it's quite a firm vegetation.
Well, it's a tight cushion. It actually has its own microclimate inside the cushion because it's so tight. Up here is actually one of my favourites. It's one of our extreme national rarities.
That doesn't look much.
Well, it is. It's mountain sandwort. It's only found in, I think, 4 places on the Scottish mainland. It's a beautifully tufted plant, and how many plants can actually grow on rock faces like this? It's growing in little crevices in the rock, and it would be flowering if we were in the quite attractive flowers with white petals. And even the seeds are actually quite artistic because they're finely sculptured. You'd have to imagine, you have to take my word for it, but they're wonderfully bronze coloured and artistically sculptured.
He's trying really hard with this one. It's called the hard sell.
Yes, well, I mean, all these things can be enjoyed in their various ways. Not everybody likes everything, I have to say, and it may look like an anticlimax to you, but I'm sorry, it isn't to me.
Back here at the Strathpuffer 24, it's been a long night for everyone, but especially for the riders. However, dawn is just around the corner, which is good news, should cheer everyone up. And Dougie is preparing himself mentally and physically to climb back onto the saddle.
Right, here we go. See you later, guys.
Good luck, Dougie.
Cheers, man.
You know you want to do this.
Oh, I so want to do this.
Yeah, come on, just one more effort.
Hiya! Oh, it's coming in. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Come on. Oh, getting my bum onto that saddle.
It's been a long, long night, but at last the first hints of daylight are appearing, and most of the riders are still slogging around and around and around.
You think you've done enough practice and training, but you actually come out into the conditions, and obviously you think, oh well, better do a bit more then for next year. I've stopped a couple of times, had some rest. That's it. I'll be fighting fit once you get back out again, but your muscles are just too tired. You just keep plodding about and just taking it easy.
Absolutely shattered.
I'm ready for a sleep. I've walked 3 laps because I can't pedal anymore.
I'm knackered, bunking, but we've got to stay in second, so my teammates will kill me if we're not in second by the end.
There you go, good effort.
Look at that! He's flying! It's 9 o'clock in the morning. They've been going for 22 hours and he's flying!
As I got on and go in slow motion. Still not being able to ride over this bit. I don't know why, there's nothing wrong with it. It's, my head says don't ride it, so.
My body and mind are shutting down, but soon it won't matter. The end is in sight.
At least there's a smile.
That was a long one. Done, finished.
That's a pretty impressive. You must be pleased though. Are you
I'm
pleased?
pleased, yeah, that's why I'm smiling, because I'm finished. And still no mud on my jacket.
What is the hardest part of it?
Your mind's the thing. I mean, I've discovered I am a pretty positive person. I'm pretty positive and I can keep myself going for most of the times, but when your mind's going, it's going into that dark place, it's so hard to get it out. You try everything. But only twice it happened to me in the whole day. And when it went in there, it was just bleak. And it was hard, I just found it really hard to get my head out. Physically it was all right, but as soon as your head goes in there, everything hurts, you know. So that lasted on, I think that was lap 3 and lap 6.
Yeah.
Horrible. So it's done now. That's it, back to work on Monday, you know, and I'm going to be struggling to walk most of the week, you know.
I've managed 7 gruelling laps, and if I haven't been through enough already, there's one more surprise waiting back at base camp.
Well, listen, Duncan and I have got you a wee something. Just in recognition of your outstanding effort from your adventure show colleagues.
I'll not shake it.
If it's anything to do with a bike.
Nah,
listen, I didn't choose it.
We can get you anything to do with a bike. Come on then, open it.
Open it. Fantastic. Is it a rubber ring that I can sit on for the next 4 or 5 days? Oh, hey! Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's fantastic.
It's got the right goggles anyway.
Yeah.
I'll put that in my I'll put it up in my office.
We thought you'd like a wee memento.
And every time I'm feeling like life is good, I'll look up at that and go, actually, it's really good because that's how bad it can be. That's a very kind
Well done,
thought.
laddie.
Well, it's all over for me. But while I relax and recuperate, many bikers are still slogging it out on the course, desperate to fit in as many laps as possible before the final whistle.
I've just finished my 12th,
right.
So I'm hoping I'll have time for a wee rest and then go back out for one last wee lap.
This is my 9th, so hopefully I'll get into double figures. happy to see the trail. Well, actually, no, it looked horrible. But hey, have a good day.
It's definitely mind over matter about 3 in the morning when your body's saying, what are you doing, you complete idiot? You should be tucked up in bed, not covered in mud, wobbling on ice like Bambi.
Oh, about 11 o'clock I just got really, really bad cramp. So I had to take a couple of hours off, which kind of knocked us off. We were winning at that point, so that's a bummer. We're in third now, and we might just be able to scrape it back to second. I don't think we're going to get back to the top spot.
Is my makeup done right?
It's beautiful.
The race officially stops after 24 hours, but anyone crazy enough to still be out there on the course has an hour's grace to finish their final lap.
Morning. Doesn't he look fresh for 22 laps? Look at him go.
So, as the last few seconds countdown of this 24-hour marathon, we're awaiting the last few stragglers, hoping to come in before the count runs out. But that is it. So, 24 hours of mud, sweat and gears. It's been a pretty impressive event this year despite the conditions, and all who took part have done remarkably well.
Hang on.
Yeah, it was a good day, really good day, but I'm so glad it's over, and never again. It's just silly. There's just no need for this at all.
Hey! How was it going through the night into the dawn?
Oh, it's great fun. It's quite scary. You get to see the lines I've been riding through the night and think, I should never have ridden these because there's ice on them and stuff, but you ride them because you can't see what's going on.
That looked, well, you look like you've had a long, long night.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad, to be honest.
Nice one, cheers, mate.
No bother, cheers. It's been good though, but it's tough.
I think I might treat myself to a little brandy. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
And so, the final results. The winning soloist is James Leavesley with a mind-boggling 23 laps. Leading woman Iona Robertson made it back with 13, while I'm quite chuffed to come in 39th with 7. Out in front for the pairs are All the Ideas but nae gears, while in fours, first place went to Keswick Mountain Bikes with an incredible 32 laps.
It's a good event, you know, it sets you up for the rest of the year.
A little bit extreme and something completely different on the bike, really.
And the normal 24s are in the summer and they're quite soft. The 24 is never soft, but compared to this, you know, they're a lot easier.
So, next year will you be back for another one?
I would say.
Why not? Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, the course was amazing.
It's only 24 hours, how hard can it be?
Well done, that's very good.
Right, thank you very much. Cheers.
Nice. 23 laps on a 24-hour race as a solo rider is a pretty impressive performance.
Thanks very much.
I mean, the guys who won the quad thought that your performance was very, very hardcore, so that's, you know, fine praise indeed.
I think it's just a case of just keeping going. Once the ice starts to come back, you feel, oh, is it going to be as bad as it was the day before? But, you know, you just got to keep yourself going and think that it's nearly over.
That was fantastic. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done.
Well, that's it from the Strathpuffer 24 and this month's adventure show. Next time we're in Switzerland at the World Ice Climbing Championships in Saas-Fee, where I'll definitely not be on a bike. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.